Welcome to the Piano Flow free training. I'm so excited to work with you all today, and I just want to take a moment to thank you for taking this time out of your day or evening, depending where you are, to get a little bit of creative freedom at the piano. So we're going to get some wonderful tools that will help you either for yourself, or if you are a teacher, then maybe you'll want to use some of these ideas in your teaching. And we'll go from some very basic ideas to some more advanced. So hopefully we can cover all sorts of levels for you. So I teach an online intensive called Piano Flow, which it's an 8-month-long online intensive where the main thing we work on is learning how to improvise freely and how to find creative expression and freedom at the piano. So it's not a particular style like jazz or blues. It's really just to gain some free-flowing, explorative ideas that sometimes people end up creating these big compositions and they never even thought they would be a composer. One of my students, after just a couple months, did a college audition and she improvised the whole thing after hardly knowing how to improvise at all before starting. So that's the main goal, is to be able to find creative, expressive freedom at the piano. And then we also do some yoga, just very gentle yoga to open up the body, and some positive mindset tools such as visualization. And then we read a book about creativity. So I believe that all of these things have a role in being able to creatively express yourself without music in front of you. So you have to feel like your body is open, your mind is open to it. So I'm just going to give you all just a little taste of these things today. It's like a mini little piano flow session. So I just invite you to keep an open mind and just try these things out. It might be a little different than what you're used to, which is fine. And just go at your own pace and take from it what you will. So the first thing we're going to do is some very gentle movement. And there is a wonderful yoga teacher named Leslie McAllister, and she focuses on yoga for musicians. So I love having her as a guest instructor during Piano Flow. So I'm going to share this very simple video that she created. It's very short. So if you all could stand up, and we're just going to do some really gentle movements that she recommends as a practice break. So we can all get way too into our practicing and then our body gets all tight. So these are some great ideas for when you need a little break. So the video goes by quickly. We're going to do it a couple times because it goes so quickly. So can everybody see this okay? Can you give a thumbs up if you can see it? Good. Okay. All right. So we can just start anywhere. So here's some wrist rolls. Keep the arms nice and loose. Some stretching side to side. And you want to just try and connect with your breath. Make sure you're breathing in through your nose. And then exhaling. Here's a flat back. She goes down, up, prayer position. This is wonderful. You just take your piano and just stretch out the arms. Okay, so this is the beginning. So you just loosely move your arms side to side, bend down. You're going to look up, flex the back, look up, flex the back, and then just kind of move side to side. And then round up the spine, wrist rolls, arms up, side, stretch, arms up, stretch to the side, arms up. Goalpost the arms, and then open the back, clasp the hands. You're going to roll forward all the way down. Release the hands, go up to flat back, release down, and roll up, prayer position. And then just grab your bench or your piano and stretch out the back. All right, so that's just a quick little video that she has on Instagram. So if you want to follow her, it's Leslie McAllister, and she just has some really nice little warm-up videos, and she has a YouTube channel also. So I think it's important just to get up and move periodically when you're practicing, teaching, do simple movements like that. All right, so now we're going to move to some music. And I hope you were able to look at the printouts. So there's the first one we'll work on is called Moonbeam. So I have a series of piano books called Little Gems for Piano. And some of you may have used them. Some of you may have never heard of them. Yay, got a thumbs up. So if you've never heard of them, they go from the very beginning level. This is called the primer. And it can be learned by demonstration or by rote. And it's very specific, like it starts just on the third finger and then it has 2-note slurs, 3-note slurs, but they're all meant to sound very beautiful and engaging. So there's that primer level. This is called the advanced primer, where there's more creativity with composition and improvisation. The students can choose their own titles, which is really fun, create their own drawings. And again, they're just simple little rote pieces, so you can learn them by demonstration. And then there's volume 1 that moves within a 5-finger pattern. So it's only up to a fifth in each piece. And there's about 25 pieces in each one. And then this is the one that Moonbeam is in. So this is volume 2. This one expands more out to like 6/7 and octaves. And by this point, the student can read quite well. So they don't need to learn it by rote. And each of them comes with audio files and video files so that they can study the pieces throughout the week. So I just like to tell people about that in case they don't know. I always think everybody knows all about them, but they don't always. Okay, so Moonbeam is from this volume 2. I think I could have put it in volume 1. It's actually quite simple. So first I'll play the piece for you. And if you have questions on how to teach this by rote, you can ask me later at the end, but right now we're going to work more on improvising off of it. Here's Moonbeam, has the pedal down. Sorry. Okay, so a lot of my pieces have that sort of sound to them where they almost sound like they could be in a film or, you know, something that kids really enjoy playing, even though they don't have to play piano for very long to be able to do that. So it's just using that third finger and has the melody down here. And then one of the secrets to my pieces is that there's some sort of pattern in them that makes them so easy to learn. So for instance, in this one, they're always crossing to an A flat every time. And the right hand is always just going up and then down. So once they learn that melody, they really can learn the whole piece quite quickly. So that's the written piece, Moonbeam. And then I'm going to show you some things you can do to improvise off of them. So the first thing I would like you to do is, I have this little graphic. So these are your sets of notes. You can see it's very simple. So the right hand just has the 2 black keys with 2 and 3. Your left hand's just going to use the third finger, and you can use any of the black keys in F and B. Okay, so just kind of really look at that. It's all black keys, isn't it? And then just an F and a B. So the first thing we're going to do, and this is very important for improvising, you have to be able to see the keyboard in all sorts of different ways. So yes, you can see that tight little set of notes, but can you see it all over the piano? So I want you to just explore any of those notes in any register with your pedal down. So the pedal is definitely your friend. Do not be afraid of it. And just explore. And there doesn't have to be any rhythm. And then I want you to just think in gestures. So you have a few notes, and then you stop. Try it somewhere else. Maybe the hands are apart. Okay, but all I'm doing are these notes and these. Okay, so take a moment and just try that out. And let me know if you have any questions. It could be nice to play a low note, any of the low notes. And then play high. Gives it a nice bed. If you want to do hands together. Or separate. Notice if you're in the middle range and higher, it's going to sound really nice. If you're in below middle C, it might sound sort of muddy. So you have to be careful of that, of the register. If you're in the lower, just think of very open tones, maybe one note or a fifth, and then explore more middle C and above. All right, how did you all do with that? You give a thumbs up if that was good, or a thumbs down if you were like, that sounded terrible. So I feel like I could do that for a really long time. There's just so many endless possibilities with that. So that's just a little starting point. And then you can experiment with creating more of a specific melody. So I came up with a little poem or a song. And that the reason I did that is it helps the student or yourself feel phrases. So the melody that I came up with is moonlight shining in the dark sky. Moonlight shining all night long. So notice the second one has a longer note at the end. So that creates a resting tone, which is really nice for feeling an end of a phrase. So I taught this the other day, and I taught the boy the little poem, and then he improvised on it, and I could tell he wasn't hearing it. He just went on and on and on. And I said, could you hear the poem? And he said, no, but it doesn't matter. He was having so much fun. So that just shows he's not ready for that yet. And that's just something we can work towards. But at first, maybe you or your students won't be able to do all the improvising and hear it, and that's fine. So all of these are just suggestions, and maybe in the end they just kind of take some of those same notes and can't really do any of it, and that's fine. You just go with where they are. All right, so let's take your third finger, and I want you to think of that same set of notes that I just showed you, and let's try to stay more in this register this time. So I'm thinking right above middle C, only left hand, so it's just only those. And it's good to think in little clusters, like the ones around middle C, or the ones around the 3 black keys, and then the 2 black keys. And then I want you to try and hear the poem. Moonlight shining in the dark sky. Moonlight shining all night long. So you try to just memorize that short little poem and see if you can come up with a little melody. Just give that a try. Left hand only. really great exercise is to try to sing with it. And then if you want a little more cohesion, you can try and start both phrases the same way. So maybe they choose any note, but try to start them on the same note. So try it again and just start both sentences on the same note. And then it's great to really tune in and notice, like, how does it sound when I started on that note? How does it sound when I ended on that note? Because each of those tones are going to create a different feeling. So really try to listen deeply and notice, what are you really liking or what are you not liking? And the ones that you really like, try to remember them and do them again. So whenever I demonstrate, make sure you're just doing your own thing. I'm just showing some options, more so for the recording. But don't try to imitate right now what I'm doing, just think of your own. Okay, the next thing you can do is to add the 2 and the 3 in your right hand on the 2 black keys. So you do that same rhythm of Moonbeam. Let's see if you can end on long because it gives it that resting tone. Okay, any questions on how to do that? So you're doing that same melody, any melody you want, it can be different every time. And just add a little 2, 3 in between. Bum, 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 bum. And your tune is only in the left hand. Moonbeam, shine, in the dark sky. The left hand has a melody, which is nice. All right, so have fun with that. So if you hear that, if I end on a G flat, it sounds very final. The other ones don't sound as final. But that's fine, right? It sounds beautiful. Go to any other tone, it's going to sound fine. Right, and the next thing you can do is in Moonbeam, it has that basic rhythm, bum, 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 bum. And then it does the exact same thing. The ending's a little bit different, but the rhythm is now more of a triplet. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so we're taking the same idea, but doing more of a triplet rhythm. Triplet, triplet, triplet. Okay, so try that out with the triplets. And then if you want to get more advanced, you can do that crossover to the A flat, just like Moonbeam does. So notice I'm going up with the 2 black keys and then down. Just like Moonbeam does. And all of these, again, are just suggestions. You could just every time go up. It doesn't matter, but that's just one idea, to go up and then go down, alternating. All right, so try that out with the crossing over. And that creates augmentation. Instead of Moonbeam shining, it's Moonbeam shining. So you don't, you don't have to teach that deep theoretical term, but that is called augmentation when the melody is now twice as long. All right, so try that out. You can do either rhythm. Or the triplet. octaves in your left hand if you want. Okay, so those are just lots of ideas of how to expand the whole melody part. And then you can flesh it out with some ideas for introduction and ending. These can be very similar. So it's nice to set up the piece with just any G flats. So you just put your pedal down. You don't even have to think of a meter, any sort of rhythm. Just play some G flats. And then if you want, you could do some 2 black keys together or separate, just really exploring. And then you do the whole melody however you want to do it. You can do it as basic as you want it or as advanced as you want it. The octaves, crossing, and then wrap it up with a nice bow at the end and you can do the 2 black keys if you'd like, and then end it with the G flats. So here's an example of what the whole piece could sound like. The one I did was pretty basic. You know, you can make it more advanced. But you really could spend hours just exploring each of these different ideas and then combining them and trying the whole piece and seeing what comes out. And then are there any questions so far on any of that? Any of those ideas? Everybody's good? Okay. Did you feel like, give a thumbs up if you feel like you were able to make it sound really beautiful and appealing. Good. Can anyone be brave and raise their hand if they felt like mine really just did not sound good? Does anybody feel like that? No judgment. Okay, good. I just wanted to know if you did feel like that, maybe there's a reason. A lot of times if you're like, this is really not sounding at all like hers, a lot of it is the register, like I was mentioning. You have to be very careful below middle C and especially below bass C, because it can get very muddy if your notes are close together, especially if you have a lot of pedal going on. So, you know, if you're trying some of those ideas, it's not at home, but if you did that here, I mean, it's amazing how different that is. I pretty much played the same thing in a different register. So that's something to be aware of. And then if you want to get really creative with it and spend some time preparing, you can find little magazine cutouts and you can describe. So it's basically just, you know, you have that 3 concepts, the G flats, the 2 black keys, and your melody. And then you can really mix and match all of those 3 ideas. And you can think of each one very imaginatively. So maybe the G flats are like a dark sky. So you can find a magazine or a coupon book and find just a dark sky and cut that out. And then maybe these are the moonlight. So I found this nice little National Geographic picture. I could cut that out and show the student. And then the last one, the melody. Maybe it's somebody singing. You find a picture of someone singing. And then you can hold up the different ones and just have them do whichever one you hold up and mix and match and find different orders, because really any order can work on it. And then another idea is just, as I was saying, keeping it as simple or as complex as you want, just single notes or like octaves and crossing. So really have fun with the texture of it. And then I'll show you another option. It's quite different than Moonbeam, but it's using the same set of notes. So this is a really nice exercise if maybe you play at a church and you need to just sometimes fill in some time, or you just want to sit down and noodle around at the piano. So this is a great one for that. And I have to show you all, yesterday I was driving and look at this free table I found. Isn't that nice? It was just out there with all this stuff that said free. So I had to pull over and get it. I thought that was so nice. Okay, so the next one is, okay, did I write this down for you? Yes, okay, so this is number 3 of the creative ideas. So in your left hand, always the 1, 5, 8 voicing is just a really nice one to have. So there's the 1 of the chord, G flat. The 5 is the D flat. Back up to the root again. So it's going to go root, 5th, root, 5th. And you'll play it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to move down to the E flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then down to, you can think of it as a C flat or a B. We're just going to do 2 of those. So that middle note would be the F sharp. And then 2 of D flat. And then in the right hand, you do any of those notes that we were doing. Very simple. Sometimes waiting. Okay, so can everybody block this G flat, and I'm below middle C. My thumb's below middle C. Here's middle C. And then block the E flat. My 2 is just on the 5th. And then you go down to, think of it as B with an F sharp. And up to the D flat. Of course, A flat's in the middle. And then G flat. So it's just a 1, 6, 4, 5, 1. Heard it so many times. But that's just a really nice one to improvise with. And I was just doing. So you think of them as 16s. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 2 E. Like quarter notes. If you're more advanced. Do the whole G flat. So you're just playing around with notes of the G flat major scale. So why don't you all try that quickly and let me know again if you have any questions. And again, it's 4 times on the G flat, 4 times on the E flat, 2 on the B, 2 on the D flat, 4 G flat. And if you can't figure that out and you want to do 4 on each one, it's completely fine. You can ask questions in the chat, or you can get off of mute, whatever you want to do. hours of entertainment. How was that for you all? Good, Gabriella. Isn't that fun? I think it's so much fun, and that's so simple. It's just that progression we've heard a million times. But something about that register of the piano and the combination with the melody, it can be very satisfying. Okay, let's move to Sunset on Lake Michigan. So this is my most advanced book. I created a solo piano album last year called Central Star. That's on Spotify and iTunes if anyone wants to listen to it. And I've actually taught much of the music to my middle school and high school students and adults. So a lot of it, it's a late intermediate, early advanced type of level. But they're very, I've found that the middle schoolers and high schoolers are really drawn to the music and excited to learn the pieces. A lot of them have very rich textures, but they're quite simple in terms of the harmony. They're not extremely complex. So we're going to do one of the pieces from the album, and it's called Sunset on Lake Michigan, which I wrote at my parents' home. They live on Lake Michigan, and it's just beautiful. It looks like a big, vast ocean, even though it's a lake, and it has gorgeous sunsets. So I was staying with them and wrote this piece, and I created just a very simple chord chart. We're really just going to look at the first 8 measures. So we're really just looking at the first half. I wrote these just in case you wanted to have more of a cadence, like a conclusion at the end. You can change it to C. But really, you can just work with the first 2 lines. So I'll play the piece for you. And one thing that I thought could be fun, similar to how I was showing you these images for Moonbeam, these very distinct images come to mind for me for Sunset on Lake Michigan. So up to you if you want to do this, but there's things to listen for. One is the water. So whenever it's doing that represents the water. So this is something fun you can do with your students, or you can do it now. So if you hear that, you can just kind of wave your hands like a water would do. And then the next part is a very nostalgic melody. So this was in Michigan. I've lived in Michigan a few times, which is in the Midwestern part of the United States. And it's a very beautiful part of the country. Family is very important there. There's a lot of farmers near my parents' home. It just has sort of this simplicity to it. And I wanted to create a melody that reminded me of the feeling of Michigan. So I came up with sort of that like old folk tune sort of sound to it. So if you hear that one, just put your hands on your heart. That means you're hearing that melody. And then towards the end, the sun is setting. So you hear it go down, 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 down. So if you hear that, just have the hands go down like a sun setting. And then at the end, there's a splash of water. So there you could go like this. Okay, so I have them all written down. And just see if you can follow along and do those movements. Again, it's really something really fun you can do with your students. Okay, so feel free to do that. I know you might feel like, I feel silly to move, but it's fine. Just see if you can hear it. Okay, so we're gonna start with the water. So that'll be your flowing. Gabriella, you're so awesome. I saw, I saw your drop of water. Okay, were you all able to hear those sections? I mean, it's pretty clear, right? So that's a fun way of teaching form. Instead of, let's listen for the A section and the B section and the coda, like try to find something imaginative. And it keeps the listener really engaged. It gives the student something to do. All right, so I have, I thought I could do this in 45 minutes. I have 3 minutes. So if you need to go, I understand. And if you can stay on, then I'll show you the concepts you can work on with this piece. So of course, this is just a piece you could teach or learn as written. And then after you've learned it or before, maybe you want to try some improvisation ideas with it. So here's what I have come up with. So the first thing is to get out the chord chart. So these are all major chords because they don't have anything after them. So that's implied C major, another bar of C major chord. Notice it's in 4, and then 2 measures of F major. And now only 1 measure of A minor. So it has that little M. So that's the A minor chord. 1 measure of the B flat major, and then 2 of the G. So it's usually 2, 2, 2, and then just 1, 1, 2, which is quite common in music. And we will just work with the first 2 lines for now. Okay, so first you want to be very comfortable with those simple little triads. And if you're not sure how to do any of them, just let me know. So we've got a C major, and you can just do root position. And there's a million ways you could do it, but why not just block the right hand and arpeggiate the left hand? 1, 3, 1, 2. On F, A minor, B flat major, G. And then just we're gonna repeat it. So just try that. Let's do it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. To F. A minor. B flat. G. And you want to try to memorize it. Can you memorize it? 2 C's. 2 F's. A minor. B flat. G. So a good exercise is to say the next chord. F. A minor. B flat. G. Okay, so it's a chord ahead. So that's a great thing for your brain because with all these improvising ideas, you have to be able to think very quickly. So if you can play the chord and say what the next one is, your brain's anticipating what's coming. Okay, so that's just a very simple way to just feel these chords in a meter. And then next, let's use, we'll do a block chord in your left hand. And then in the right hand, instead of 1, 3, 5, 3, we're going to do 2, 3, 5. Okay, so it'll be like, and the 2 of F would be G. 2 of A would be B. So you think of that triad, you put your hand on the triad, but just play 2 instead of 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, here we go. To F. Okay, now we're going to do it instead of the third, 1, 3, 5, 3, we're going to do 1, 2, 5, 2. There's a ton of that. Right? That's all I'm doing. I'm just 1, 2, 5, 2. Okay, so we'll do it on each chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. chords. Instead of a triad, do 1, 2, 5 or 2, 3, 5. It makes such a difference. We're so used to hearing this. But, ooh. Ooh. So nice little color tones. Okay, then you want to be able to invert them. So this depends on your level. So you start root. Where's the closest inversion to F? Can you keep a common tone? They both have a C. Okay, now I've got to get to A minor. Is there a common tone? Yes, A and C. And B flat, there's no common tones, but you just move up one note. And then a common tone to G is the D. So look how little my hands moved. Now maybe I'll go to the first inversion of C, which brings me to the root of F. Invert A. Oh look, I'm by the second inversion of C. So that's really fun to do. You can go so many different places depending on what inversion you start with and where you choose to go. It can lead you all sorts of different ways. So that's a great way to work on your inversions. Just find, is there a note in common? If so, keep it and you'll stay very close by. Okay, let's move to, we're going to voice these chords. And instead of just going like we're so used to, we're going to open up the piano. Oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous. I can't even take it. So you're just going to play the fifth in the left hand and the third in the right hand. And listen to that difference. It's so different. Okay, and then you move your fifth up to the F. Here's my third. And if you can't figure it out, you just play the chord and then visually move it. You have your A minor with the third in the right hand. B flat with the third in the right. It's just beautiful. Okay, so see if you can do those. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you can add little melodies. Just embellish that third. Create little melodies just starting on the third. The third is such a nice tone to start melodies with. And then you can take it just in the left hand, which I'm doing in this piece a lot. So root, fifth, third. So it's just a nice voicing that opens up the piano. And then you can play around with creating just really nice little melodies with just my left hand, starting with the root, fifth, third. So that's much more advanced for you to try that. I'm just going kind of quickly since it's now been 50 minutes. But you can take all these ideas and really just explore them. Let's see. The last ones are really just you creating a melody using the C major scale. Anything in that scale is going to work. Just doing 1, 5, 8. The only time you have to be careful is when you play that B B flat chord. You have to lower the B to a B flat. So just anything in that C scale while you keep this. F, A, B flat, G. Can you create melody? I'm just doing 5-finger pattern. You know, you can just try to create melodies just in that 5-finger pattern. You can create some nice things in there. Or maybe you want to use your 1, 2, 5. All I did was these 3 notes. 2, 3, 5. If you wait. And the final thing is if you want to do 1, 5, 3, 5. I know that's a lot, and I didn't give you time to really like explore each one. But are there any questions, or does that feel like, give a thumbs up if you feel like that's something you can play around with, or does that just seem like that is way too hard? Good, good. Patricia, you have a question?
Yes, it's a technical question.
Mhm.
I don't have the chord chart. I think it was supposed to be on page 2 of the Sunset Lake improvisation
You
ideas.
know what happens there?
But
If you, when you click on it, you kind of have to click on the end of the link. It's really weird. If you click on the, like the word sunset, it shows you the attachment above it. But if you click on the word Michigan, then it opens the chord chart. I don't know why.
I'm trying it.
Okay.
No.
Me too.
Okay.
For Michigan, it should be fine. You have a blank page,
I
Adrian. Huh. Adrian, where's Adrian?
huh.
I don't see an Adrian, but someone just wrote in the chat. Is
I
Adrian under a different name?
I can't find it. This is Pat. I can't find it.
I just went to the email and I clicked on the word improvisation on that second link. And
Right.
it bring me to the correct one because I'd been getting this.
Yeah. Yeah. Sense it on like Michigan.
So
improvisation.
click on the right
I
hand
see.
side of the link.
Yeah.
Okay.
If,
Hold
yeah.
on.
And if you can't find it, let me know and I'll resend it to you. But yeah, I don't know why I was doing that. All right. Well, I hope that was.
I can't find it. It's just not there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't find it either.
Oh no. Oh, maybe did I not attach that one? Maybe I only did the all the recommendations, and I think I forgot. It's so simple though. C, C, F, F, A minor, B flat, G. I'm sorry. I will include
I'll
that.
just I'll take a picture of it.
Yeah, I can hold it up.
Oh,
I was working on this till 10 at night, and I forgot to include that one.
Great. Thank you.
Probably all were wondering, what is she? What is she looking at? Which chord chart is that? Good thing it's so simple. But I will definitely attach that. Okay, so I hope that
Okay,
gives
and
you.
Paul,
Yes.
the attachment I got goes to 2 pages, but the second page is blank.
right. That's what's happening with the rest of
For
us.
which attachment?
On the improv ideas, I did get the first page of it, but I get a blank second page.
For Sunset? Yeah, there actually is only one page. So yeah, so that's fine. It's not missing anything. It just attached it as a chart.
Okay, so
Yeah, it's just a
just to
one-page
be
document.
clear, are you Are you gonna send us this on an email, or how are we gonna
Yes,
get
I'll
this?
send out an email with the recording of the training, and
Uh-huh.
I'll include all of the links again, and I will be sure to add the chord chart to that.
Thank you.
Okay, so
This
you'll
has
get an
been
email.
wonderful, by the
Oh,
way.
you're so welcome. I hope it was helpful for you
Yes, very.
all. Give you some new ideas. And yeah, as I mentioned, the Piano Flow Intensive is starting in a couple weeks in October. So if anyone wants to join, please reach out and we can have a talk about it. And if not, this will give you plenty of ideas to work with. All right. Any final questions before we say goodbye?
I have a question.
You're welcome. Yes.
Yeah, so the next one starts in 2 weeks, you said?
Mm-hmm.
And after that, when is the next one? Do you know?
Oh, well, for the Piano Flow, for the course? Okay, so I teach an online intensive that we meet 3 times a month, and it goes for 8 months long. And then for the free trainings, so that goes October through May. And then the free trainings, I offer them just every few months. I'll probably do another one around the holidays. So as long as you're on my email list, you'll hear about those. So those are every few months, probably 3 a year, I would say. And then the Piano Flow is much more of a deep dive where we work on things like this. And it's more of a very small community. And that meets almost weekly. And
Thank
then
you.
I do an 8-month session with that. And then I usually do a 6-week summer intensive for that also.
Okay.
And then also, if you're interested in things like this, I host a virtual retreat in January called Piano Connect that some of you attended last year. And I gather all of my favorite creative piano teachers around the world, and they each lead a session very similar to this one that's very interactive and hands-on. And that happens in mid-January. So be on the lookout for that if you're looking for more creative ideas. All right. Any other questions? Tim?
So how do you measure the qualifications for somebody to participate in your flow class? I mean, I'm not a piano teacher. Even though I've studied piano for many years, I'm not very good. I don't feel comfortable with it. So is there some background work that I could do to make sure I'm qualified? Or
It has a real mix of levels. So some people are, professional piano teachers. They might play professionally, and then some are adult amateurs that have much more of a limited understanding. And I give very differentiated learning, similar to these, how there's very basic things you can do that still sound beautiful. Or if you're ready, you can really move all over. And then I've also created a lot of beginning exercises that are very beautiful. Like if you don't know all of your 5-finger patterns. I teach those in a way that's still very musically satisfying, that I would give to people that don't know like 5-finger patterns or scales, or all of your chords. So I feel like it works with all sorts of different levels, and then everybody's on mute just like here, so you don't feel like, oh, I don't sound as good as she does.
okay, all right,
So
that's fair enough. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's for all sorts of levels. And if you want to talk about it anymore, please reach out. I'd be happy to talk with you. Any other questions? And it's a very inclusive, welcoming group. We're not at all competitive with each other. Okay, well, it has been such a joy to share my morning with you all. And I hope this was helpful, and I'll be in touch, and we'll be sure to have all attachments. Hope everyone has a beautiful night or morning wherever you may be. And thanks for coming from South Africa, Melanie. It was wonderful to meet you. It's so exciting. Take care, everybody. Bye.